It's Dave here from Amplify, and I'm talking to the great Scott Kennedy from Bleed from Within. Look at him. He's humble. I say great, and he just falls over. He's been on stage for 20 years, and he's still humble.
Dude, you have
Oh,
to be when you're Scottish.
boy, do you really? Actually, my last
Yeah.
name is Bruce. So
If you
so I'm
if you ever try to get an ego, if in the town I grew up in, if you ever get an ego, you get the piss taken right out of you. So you're not allowed to grow up with an ego.
I think
Whereas,
that's a good thing about um, probably Ireland and Scotland and all that sort of stuff, all the local places, because basically they're sort of working class countries. And
yeah,
so if you go down the pub and someone's, going off, someone quickly puts them in their place. And I think that's a pretty good thing. Doesn't
yeah.
happen doesn't happen in America all the time. Uh,
No,
to me,
it's funny you say that. We've always described ourselves as the working man's band.
well, I think we could have a big, long, conscious discussion about it, but
Yeah,
that's another podcast. But I think it's best that you stay, in the moment. And so
yeah,
as soon as you start going into your head and going places, you usually find, say in your case, the show shit because you're thinking too much about doing it perfect and you're not just going out there and doing it natural and you're trying to fix things and you're trying to protect things and everyone feels it and they don't think it's as good as, when you're just out there. Anyhow, let's go. How'd the band come together back in Glasgow in 2005? Where did it all begin?
it was a long time ago,
In
and that's
25 words or less.
um, we were just a bunch of young kids that loved metal. You know, we
Yeah.
grew up in bands like Pantera, Metallica, Lamb of God, Killswitch Engage, and we just wanted to be like those bands, you know, like when we were kids. And then it's sort of just grown arms and legs since then. And I never thought I would be still sitting here 20 years later, still in the band, to be honest with you. But here we are.
Fantastic bands, and a lot of them still around today. So they are
Yeah.
fantastic bands.
Yeah.
And so over the 20 years, you've done a lot of stuff, and you've. But anyhow, we'll talk about it. How would you describe your sound? They say metalcore, melodic
Nah,
death metal, groove metal, deathcore. That's what
I
they
would
say.
probably say groove metal's probably the closest to what we actually try to achieve with our sound, but we're just a metal band. Like, you know, when I was growing up and I was listening to bands like Lamb of God and stuff, it was just they were just metal bands, and that's all we ever tried to be was just a metal band. I guess the whole metalcore thing just comes with the generation, doesn't it? Like we're younger guys that play metal that, you know, have some melody involved in it, and I feel like that's just where that comes from. So,
Well, I also noticed I do a lot of interviews, and I also noticed the three of you have been together, albeit one of you, moved from bass to lead guitar, but three of you have been together for the whole 20 years. That's
yeah,
that's rare, and
yeah,
and you haven't had too many extras, so you've
yeah.
been pretty much, a pretty core group of people for either long periods or for the whole lot.
Yeah.
When you talk about that, did that sound change? Like you've done seven albums now, did that sound change over the time, or has it sort of been consistently, you just got better at doing the thing that you started doing?
Um, I think we've just gotten better at doing it, really. I feel like our music has. See, the thing is, right, I don't really look at us being a band for 20 years, if I'm honest, because when we started the band, we were genuinely just literally kids. We were so young. We were not in a band for the right reasons, you know. Not that we weren't in a band for the right reasons. We were just in a. We just wanted to be in a band, you know. Like it wasn't about. Whereas now, it just feels like it's been such a massive part of my life. I feel like I need it now, whereas back in the day I didn't need it. I wanted to be in a band, you know, because it was cool. And whereas now it's like I don't know what I'd be doing in my life. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for the band, you know. I need it now. And it's funny because it's not been hard being a band for 20 years. Just didn't think about it, you know. It's just all of a sudden 20 years it just disappeared. You know, it's absolutely wild to think about, man.
What's wild is you've gone for 20 years. You've played with some massive bands. You've toured with some massive bands. I think back in 13, you did a few dates with Megadeth.
We
um,
did, yeah.
who are obviously legends of the metal, and I mean it must be a bit of a trip, like you say. You just started as kids, and all of a sudden, you're sort of moving through these phases where you sort of move into what you just said is your life. This is who you are. This is what you're about. It
Yeah,
must be a trip.
it really is. Like, it was definitely something I used to get way more excited about. And not that I'm not excited about it now, but like when I was a kid and we got to support these bands, I was like, "What the fuck? This is crazy." Whereas now I look at it from like a different, I sort of look at it from a different perspective now. Like I'm a father now, like if we're doing shows like this, it's like I'm thinking I need to win over their fan base so that we can grow our band, so that I can create a better life for my child. Like that's kind of the way I approach it now. I'm
Fantastic.
in my like mid 30s now. I have a totally different outlook in life now, and obviously becoming a father will do that to you. But like I feel like when I don't I try not to get in my head about it is what I'm trying to say now. Like I'm
I
not
get
like
it. But I think
you
I
know
think I think that's interesting because basically, like I say, I do a lot of interviews and we talk about music and all that and the evolution of music and what we did and what the band did, etc. And
yeah
you're one of few people that sort of have spoken about it as sort of a living, as like a life. And
yeah
in life, that's basically what takes place. You evolve into different places, and you think you're somewhere, and then you discover you're not, and then might get married, and then you discover something different, and you have some kids, and you discover something different, and then the kids get married, and they have kids, and you're sort of going through this life process, and you're saying that music is basically,
the
you've
one.
carved that through the music process as well, which is really cool.
It's been the one consistent in my life is this band of music. Like I feel like everything that's going on in my life, I always find ways to be able to shape the band into being a part of my life, like because I'm changing throughout my whole life, but that's the one thing that's just consistently just been alongside me the whole way.
And
It's
what
pretty
about
cool.
what about the guys? How do you in like 20 years, especially all the touring, and especially everyone's got something different. Maybe some people drink more, some people carry on more, some people do have ego. How do you get along over that long period without, the need to, a lot of bands separate because of it.
The good thing is no one in my band has an ego. That's a big bonus. I think the one thing that's been quite easy for us though is that before the band we're all best friends. We've been best friends since before the band even started. The reason we started a band together was because we were all best friends, like, and that's never changed. Like even when we come off tour, we're all still hanging out with each other when we get home. We all grew up in the same town. We all went to the same school,
That's
and I feel
fantastic.
like
And
our friendship is number one.
everyone married with kids?
No, only two of us are married, and I'm the only one that has a kid. But I'm a new father. My child is only 6 weeks old, so
Oh my
this
God,
is why
man.
I'm wearing a hat indoors. I've just woken up.
My God, man, you gotta. I say I'm an old man. I'm 67, and I keep on saying to
Not look it.
people, well,
You
I,
don't
keep
look
on,
it.
I say to people, I was in Sydney, and I had to see a specialist, and he's there, and I had to wait fucking hours, and I got down there, and he's in his gown, and he's talking. Someone stops him at the door, and someone asked him about what they're, do operating on tomorrow and triple bypass and all that. And I said to him, "How old are you, man?" And he said, "I'm 29." And I laughed, and he said, "What are you laughing at?" I said, "You're going to have you think you're now in charge of everything, and you're making life and death decisions. You're going to have another 3 or 4 lives before you work out, who
Yeah,
you really are." And that's what I'm saying. By the time you have this child, 6 weeks, and it grows up, and then all the different elements that come in from that perspective, it's like I'll talk to you in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, and you'll say you're completely different to what you are today. It's a
yeah.
it's a pretty cool thing. All right, the album, the seventh, Zenith. It's coming out on the 4th of April. What's it all about?
Um, see, to be honest with Bleaching Within, there's never really some big fancy concept album. It's never about that, whereas it's always just about, like where we are in our lives at that moment in time. Like I always try to write songs from the heart, write songs that really mean something to me personally and what I'm going through at that point in my life as well. And that's just what it's all about. It's never been about like trying to write these big fancy concepts, man. It's always just about writing the best songs we can possibly write. I guess to try and sum up Zenith, it's sort of about like looking at where we've come from, you know, looking at our losses, our wins, everything that's led us to this point in time. And I believe this to be the strongest record that we've ever written. Like a
The
truly,
Zenith.
truly, exactly. That's what
Zenith.
it's all about, you know. But it's also about acknowledging how far we've still got to go, you know, like this won't be the best record we'll ever write.
No.
100% not. There's one thing that we will always pride ourselves on, and that is our music, and we'll never ever ever release a record if we don't believe it to be
Well, this one
better,
took 3 years.
than the last one.
This one took 3 years to write. You started this in 22.
Well,
So,
it took about a year and a half, 2 years to write, and it took about a year to record.
okay, fair enough.
But everyone's got busy lives out within the band as well, so it's see trying to find the time to do these things and making sure that you're hooking up with the right like engineers to track and stuff like that. It just takes time to record as well. I think it took us like just under a year to record the full record, even though it was fully written.
I look forward to the next one because basically, like you say, you're writing from personal experience. I'm sure that the next couple of years is going to be a head spin for you. What are the signature tracks on the album? Which one's your favourite?
Oh, my favorite's got to be the opening track in Violent Nature. It's
Uh-huh.
just the heaviest, fastest song we've ever written. That song was sort of about going back to our roots and trying to like when we started the band, you know, I feel like we had a bit of a heavier sound. It was a bit more, there was definitely a bit more sort of death metal influence, I think. And I feel like we wanted to go. So basically, right, sort of go off track a second. Like the the album wasn't originally called Zenith. It was called Zero. The first name we had for this record was called Zero, and then we changed it only like maybe
Why?
like
Why'd you call it Zero?
because it was sort of about going back to our roots and just forgetting
Start
everything and like
again.
acknowledging where we've come from and like yeah, because the last three records, Era, Fracture, and Shrine, we sort of looked at as a trilogy, and then it was like right, we're moving on. It's a fresh start, going back to our roots, forgetting about everything, you know, just doing writing music and remembering why we wanted to be in a band in the first place. So the album was called Zero, and then Linkin Park came out with their new record called From Zero, and we're like,
Never
let's
heard of
just
them. Never heard of them.
amazing. So yeah, we totally it just flipped it and everything on its head, and we're like, fuck, we need to change our record now. And we were like so close to it. We'd already started the recording process and everything at that point. So we're like, and do you know what? I'm kind of glad we did because I feel like Zenith is a much better name.
Well, I think having spoken to you for just a short time and hearing what you talk about and the way that you connected to, you know, existential sort of stuff, then
Yeah.
it's probably more appropriate because you tried to write something that was but Zero would have been just as good. But
I feel like Zenith sums up the record more than Zero did.
listen,
Zero
man,
was I feel like Zero only really related to a couple of songs on the record. The whole idea behind the name Zero anyway, whereas Zenith sort of captures the whole thing. So I think we've come off better. It was meant to be.
if Lincoln Park's coming out with a record the same name as yours, you must be doing something right. They're fucking unbelievable.
Oh,
But
they're so
so are
good.
you guys. So are you guys. Okay, what tours and events are coming up? What are you looking forward to?
We're going to America in 3 weeks with a Bullet for My Valentine and Trivium.
Oh,
That's a month long, which is going to be the hardest month of my life. As I said, I've become a new father, so that's going to be tough.
how you
But
gonna, how's that's the other thing I was going to say. The thing that breaks people up most of the time is, if you're in the mortgage belt or, if you haven't made it or something like that, and everyone's got to pay bills and the wives are sort of saying one thing or another, or
yeah,
kids, because ultimately now you've got a choice. And at the end
yeah,
of the day, blue collar people are pretty happy to go back to doing nothing except for enjoying. And so now
yeah.
you've got to make a choice as to whether you go left and keep on pursuing, this sort of situation or catch what's happening with the youngster. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge.
It'll definitely be hard juggling it, but I feel like, we can make it work. Like there's one thing that
Zoom,
there's one thing that we've always prioritized in Bleed From Within is like we always prioritized our own heads, we always put ourselves first and we like for each other, sorry, is what I meant to say. Like we always put each other first and if a tour doesn't work out or doesn't make sense with what we've got going on in our personal life, then the tour won't happen. So I believe that we've all got each other's back in situations like that.
Have you played with Bullet before?
Yeah, we've toured with them before. We toured with them in the UK. We're good friends with those guys, man.
Oh, they're
Obviously,
good.
they're
That's what I'm
legends.
saying. All the bands that you've toured with, when I was doing the research, I thought, fuck, I'd love to, you go and see shows for them all the time, headlines, whether you were headlining and they were supporting, whether you were supporting and they were headlining, all the bands that you play with are fucking awesome bands. What do
We've definitely been very lucky. Like we've had
I don't
quite a
think
fun
I don't think
period.
it's luck. I don't think it's luck. I think you make it's like I think the laws of attraction say luck is purely the absence of doubt. So you've just been in your own shoes doing your own thing, and you attract that sort of stuff. So all
I
power.
like that, man.
Are there still long-term aspirations?
100%. As I said to you before, this will not be the best record we'll ever
This is
write.
like zero. You're starting again.
This is just the beginning for Bleed From Within. 100%. This is us. This is us. Like we're the best version of ourselves now, but we've got so long to go. Yeah. This just feels like the beginning, man.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, if Mega are still going after 40 years,
Yeah.
you can probably do the same. After 20 years of all that success, what piece of advice would you give to an artist starting out?
Oh God, I don't feel like I'm in the position to give anyone advice, but I would say just be yourself, just be authentic. Like
Yeah,
there's no other way to be, man. You're not going to have a long career if you're faking it.
no,
You're also not going to enjoy it if you're faking it, you know. You might do for a short period of time, but that won't last.
and
Just be
play
yourself and
and
be a good
play.
person as well. Be nice to people, be kind to people. A lot of people can, get I've witnessed that a lot in the music industry, like people get a lot of success and they can just
No
become,
change.
yeah,
Yeah,
just don't,
work hard, play all the time.
yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about because that's where you get your audience from, playing.
Exactly, man.
Fuck social media, fuck online, fuck all that sort of stuff. Just get out. You've got to use it, but
I
just
totally agree, man. I totally agree.
use it as an accessory. Don't make it
Exactly.
a focus. What's the best thing about performing to a live audience?
Oh God. Probably just forgetting where you letting go of your
At the
life for a
moment,
second. Yeah, just being in the moment and not thinking about anything else. I love that. Like it's probably the only thing in my life that I do where from the moment I go on stage, I don't think about anything else. In fact, I don't even think about anything. It's just I just go and enjoy it, and then I come off stage and it's just like what just happened. I can't even remember what just happened. It's just such an amazing moment.
but if you think about it, life or music's about harmony, and it sounds like you guys, because you've been together for so long, you've all moved in a sort of a quantum sort of, connection. So,
Yeah,
it's there's not any friction. So probably the fans enjoy that sort of stuff. All right.
totally.
A couple of what's been the career highlight so far? Have you got one?
Um, Career highlight. Touring with Slipknot.
What's that? Sorry.
Touring with Slipknot. We toured with Slipknot
Oh,
at the end of last
no.
year.
Did you?
Yeah, we played in the biggest arena in Glasgow, our hometown, and my father got to see me do that. So I would say the fact that my father and my wife got to see me play that venue, that's been the career highlight for me.
Slipknot are fucking another.
Oh, dude, one of my favorite bands.
Well, stop everything. Yeah, they're fantastic. All right, we're
Yeah.
going to finish off with some faster sort of questions to give people a real understanding as to who you are.
Cool.
People hate these. What's the craziest thing you've ever done? Had a child.
No, that's the best thing I've ever done. Touring with Slipknot.
That's crazy. That is fucking crazy. And it must do your head in sometimes because, like you say, you don't have to be a goek. And most of the time, you find these bands that have been around that are so big are so grounded because they've had everything and they just don't need it. So, because they don't need it, they treat it like an experience rather than some sort of egoic thing. So, that'd be pretty cool. Slipknot. What's the one topic you can talk about for hours? Soccer,
Music.
music. What's the
Yeah.
thing you like most about yourself?
God. I don't know. I
You
try
tattoo?
not try not to think about myself.
You don't? But
Eh,
I'm going to start a podcast on consciousness at some stage, and I'll get you back in a few years, and I'll have you crying at 15 minutes, and you can unload all those things that you think about yourself. I'm only joking, by the way.
probably my resilience. I've been through quite a lot of stuff in my life, like, and I'm still standing. Like
Is it a
probably my
is it a hard like you often see movies about England and all that sort of stuff where small towns and they're mining or something like that, and everyone's pretty fucking hard. Was it
yeah.
a hard small town or you've had it pretty easy?
Yeah, it was, yeah. That's what I grew up in, like a really,
Tough.
like, when people are, like people at my father's age are like, like just tough, tough, tough
Tough.
guys. And I grew
Tough.
up around that, yeah.
And that's why you got to be grounded because they'll make you feel it. Okay, here we go. We'll finish with favorite questions. All right. Favorite album.
Ever.
Whatever you want, you can answer. Whatever you want. It can be today, or you can be
Incubus,
favorite ever. It can be last month. Could have just come.
Incubus, Morning View by Incubus.
Ah, another fantastic band. Favorite artist?
Fuck. Incubus.
No, that's all right. Favorite movie?
Oh, Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
What was that?
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Arnie.
Yes, Terminator 2, yeah.
Arnie.
Yeah, Annie.
There you go. Favorite place to visit?
Oh, oh,
You better say Australia.
I've not been. I've never been.
Have you been out
Vegas.
here?
No, never, never.
Oh, fuck, you got a tour here, man. The fans here are
Well,
just, they're manic.
we have a tour booked, but it's not announced yet, so I can't say anything about
Well,
it.
it's manic. They're manic, especially the heavy fans. They love
No,
it.
but I can't wait. Our drummer Ali plays in another band called Silosis, and they just toured Australia like.
Stylosis. I know Stylosis. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I
Our drummer Ali, he plays in them, and they just toured Australia like a month ago, and he said it's the best place he's ever toured.
mad. It is. It's mad. And because we're uh uh we're it's not quite kangaroo sort of stuff, but we're pretty level-headed sort of people. We're not dumb like Americans, like we're smart, but we're still pretty cool. Like Americans are really dumb. You only have to see what's going on over there to sort of understand that.
Can't say
Uh,
anything.
well, that's all right. I don't think we go far enough to, I don't have to worry about that. Favorite venue to play?
Oh, the Barrowlands in Glasgow.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
favorite food?
Mexican.
In Glasgow, they got Mexican in Glasgow, have they?
There's a couple of decent spots, but it's not as good as like it's not that great, to be honest. There's a couple of spots where it's really good, but God, Mexican in the States is
Yeah, it's
unreal.
mad. It's mad. It's mad. Well, that's Mexico's a mad place too. 20 million people, 20 million guns. Favorite food? Favorite drink?
Favorite drink, beer.
Beer? What type?
I'm an IPA guy. Like I really like my IPA.
So do you like
I have the gut to prove it.
you'd have a lot of live stuff over there, wouldn't you?
A lot of what, sorry?
Live stuff, stuff that that's sort of you've got to drink, at the pub. It's not sort of brought in. I don't know what they call it, but it's live anyhow. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Favorite person in history, apart from me?
You, my father.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a story there.
Oh, he's just an amazing man. He's just, he never puts himself first. He's always there for everyone. He's just a great person. He's a great role model.
And what did he do with himself?
My dad was a mechanic. He, like when I was a kid, my mother passed away, and also my sister passed away, and she
Oh,
had kids.
oh,
And my father raised her kids and put
oh,
himself last, and
oh.
he's just an amazing man. I don't really speak about my personal life a lot, but he's
No. There's a story there, though. I mean, ultimately not for me, but I'm saying, you know, people go to Hollywood, watch Hollywood movies. They go to the cinema, and next door there's probably a better story than the one that they're going to watch. That
yeah,
sounds
well,
amazing.
that's what all my lyrics are about. You know, I speak about that stuff in my songs quite a lot. So
Well done. Well, that's great. All right, we've got one more. Favorite tattoo? How many tattoos you got?
I've got a portrait of my mother. That's
Oh
probably my
my
favorite.
goodness. How old were you when Mum died?
20,
I was 18.
were you?
You don't get over it, do you?
No, never, man. My mum was only 48 when she passed away.
Mine was 52, so they're
Yeah,
not old.
it's crazy,
Cancer?
man.
Cancer?
No heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah,
That's devastating.
yeah, man.
All right, Bleed from Within. Who named the band? Where the band name come from?
I think it was me. There was honestly, I would love to tell you some big story, but there wasn't. We just tried to come up. We were just really, really, really young and tried to come up with the most metal name we could think of, and unfortunately, we landed on that.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. Yell out
Yeah.
when you come out, and I'll come and see you. And look after your kid and have a great life. Keep doing. You sound. I usually sort of give feedback to people every time I talk to them because I'm an old bastard and I can. But you sound very. I don't know what it is. Sensible. So people that watch you play would probably think that you're some sort of guy that's got 100 groupies and taking drugs and doing it. No, just because it's a heavy sort of stuff and you go
Yeah.
around and thrash around and all that sort of stuff. But you sound like a very normal, down to earth, clear thinking, intelligent individual who's moving down this path without a pursuit. So you might have objectives, but they're not pursuits. It's not like you've got to get there. It's like I'll get there, but I don't have to get there, sort of thing. Well, I think that's the best way to be. Anyhow, enough of all that.
Appreciate that. That's so nice.
All power to you, and have a great time. I can't wait for the eighth album.
Thank you very much, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Take care, mate. All the best.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.